Hello, everyone. Ross Strauser here along with Reed Trontel. This is Focus on the Flathead. Reed, how are you on this weekend?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Ross.
Well, great to have you back in the studio, and we've been trying to get this man in the studio for the longest time. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the one and only John Dunnigan to Focus on the Flathead. John, how are you today?
Well, good, Ross. It's been a long time since we've done this.
I know. We've done a few shows together in the history of our lives.
You think?
Well, welcome back, and thanks for being on the radio with us. We're going to learn a lot about you and what you've been up to, where you're going in the future, all that kind of good stuff. For people the two people who may not know you in this entire Flathead Valley.
Wow. Yeah.
Let's have a little synopsis of your life, if you would.
Wow. Really? Okay.
I know, it's kind of hard to think about all of a sudden. But tell people a little bit about yourself.
It's a lot of it's a blur because when you're in a prison in Louisiana, there's just a lot of things that. Can I say that kind of stuff? No, I was raised. My mom and dad moved up to the Flathead in the 70s, and I kind of followed them up here, just kind of learning the musical trade. And I played pedal steel guitar, as you know, in the old days in the 70s, and I got tons of work in the Ronan, Pablo, St. Ignatius area because nobody played pedal steel guitar, and it's not that I was that good. I was the only steel player, seriously. And I would just get jobs with these guys that were probably my age now, and I was really young. I was 22 years old, and
wow.
It was very exciting.
You moved here from California, right?
Yep, Northern California. Yep.
Wow. So what was the Flathead like back then in the 70s when you first moved here?
Well, I lived in Big Fork, and when I would come to Whitefish to work, although that was like going to Disneyland from Woods Bay in February, coming up to Whitefish. There weren't that many stoplights. You could drive. I'd really like to know, especially out in the area where the Costco, Walmart area is. There's all those stoplights now between there and Whitefish. There was none of those. There was none. You could stop in the bar, get a drink, and drive 90 miles an hour. It's a great life.
We don't recommend that.
No, we don't. No, we certainly don't, young children out there.
But so the scene was a lot different musically, too. I mean, name some of the people that were in the Flathead doing music back when you moved here. Do you remember any of them? Well,
yeah, there was Sonny King, of course. He and I played. He played the Blue Moon for years and years. A guy named Gary Gobert. Kind of from the reservation, a great guitar player. Then there was guys like Vern Nigg. I don't know if you ever heard him. Kelly is his son. He played, and these were all like house band jobs. It wasn't so many of these bands moving around all the time. There was a house band at the Great Northern. There was a house band I'm trying to think of some of these places. Well, the Big Fork Inn, that seemed like the Lawrence Welk kind of guys. Now I'm just hoping I can get on there sometime in my life. A lot of that kind of stuff. There weren't a lot of solo guys, very few solo guys like what I'm doing now and all these other guys. Dozens of people out there now.
So how did you get into music? I know you went to college. Mm-hmm. Where did you go to college?
Santa Rosa Junior College.
Santa Rosa, okay.
Yeah, it's a 2-year college. I spent 6 years there.
Okay, so but what made you get into music?
Well, my dad played guitar. Around the house, we just always had music, and I from that folk era, the Simon and Garfunkel kind of Gordon Lightfoot era, and a buddy and I, Clay Stogner, we started singing folk songs, and pretty soon the girls took notice, and that's that's how it kind of starts in a way. You get a little notoriety just within your little circle of friends, and we started doing little folky gigs, and then I got into a band. And the band played up in Lake Tahoe, and we traveled around. And then my dad got us a gig here at the Outlaw Inn.
Wow.
In Kalispell, and that would have been, you ready for this? August of 1978.
Whoa.
40 years ago this year. We toured up here, 5-piece band. And oh my God! And played the Outlaw Inn and a bunch of other places.
A lot of musicians remember their first paying gig when they first got a little cash, a check or whatever. Do you remember what that was?
Yep, Pizza Parlor in Sebastopol, California. Was free beer and pizza, and I think we split $50 or $100, and there was 12 of us in the band, girls playing tambourines and guys on conga drums, and all right, this is going to be really profitable. This is great, yeah.
And you were probably 8 when you did
I was 8, Thank you very much, yeah.
Did they pay you with some pizza as well?
Pizza,
I mean, that's kind of common.
Delicious pizza, boy. There's Billy Angel, one of my great friends of all time.
He's walking by the room, yeah. Don't let him come in here.
No,
the show will be interrupted.
No, I know.
Okay, so moving to the Flathead, you got into the music industry here right away. And started a band right away?
Well, I kind of didn't start my own band, even though I came up here in 1978 with this band from Northern California. They all kind of went back, and I hung out, and that's when I kind of started to really play with these different musicians, kind of be the multi-instrumentalist, because I could play all these instruments, but especially the pedal steel guitar. And like I say, I worked all over the valley, not too much in Whitefish. It was more south of, like I say, a little bit of Kalispell, but especially down there in Polson and Ronan. And I remember one particular gig in Thompson Falls. I got the job, and I got there, and I was setting my stuff up. And I said, I think there was another steel guitar on stage. And I said, so where's the steel player? And the drummer said, well, he got shot and killed last night in the parking lot.
What?
Really? Okay, that was really good. Yeah, they got some sort of a bar fight. Yeah, he got shot and killed. And I believe it was in Thompson.
Back when Thompson Falls was like Dodge City.
It was Dodge City, and Plains, and and all those places down there. So I played all those really rough honky tonks. I mean, they were seriously rough honky tonks. But they kind of let the musicians. We kind of had a little special elevated spot amongst the crowd. They didn't. I never had any problem, ever. Never had a problem.
Well, one more little history thing coming up after our break here. I want you to tell about the story when your mom was in the real estate business and you wrote a song about it, and you're going to play a little bit of it for us in our next little break here.
Okay.
And we're going to be back on Focus on the Flathead in just a few minutes, sponsored by Three Rivers Bank of Montana and Glacier Grins Pediatric Dentistry. And we can also pick up the podcast where, Reed?
Yes, bpodcast.com. We're also on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on iTunes. We're all over, Ross.
Wow.
Great. Focus on the Flathead. Coming back in just a few minutes.
Qualifications and rules apply. See institution for details.
If our lives are getting so much better, why is banking fallen so far behind with monthly fees and bad service?
Welcome to Megabank. Please hold.
Welcome to Kasasa. Free checking with monthly rewards, refunds on ATM fees, and your choice of cash, music, and extra money to save. Upgrade to a free Kasasa account today, exclusively at select community banking providers. Do you Kasasa?
Ask for Kasasa at Three Rivers Bank of Montana. Member FDIC and an equal housing lender.
We are back. This is Focus on the Flathead. Ross Strauser, Reed Trontel. Reed, very, very exciting guest in the studio with us today.
So exciting.
Is this the first time we've had a guitar in the studio as well?
It definitely is, and we have to have you back. I'm already looking forward to it.
Wow.
We could go an hour, John. We could go 2 or 3 hours.
You and I, we could go days.
It is John Dunnigan, ladies and gentlemen. John, welcome back to the show. And we left that last break just about to talk about, your family moving to the Flathead Valley, but your mother was in real estate. And then, of course, her experiences spawned a song. We're going to hear a little bit of that song in just a minute, but tell us about your mother.
Well, and my mom is still alive and well. I believe she's 92 years old, and she also is in a prison in Louisiana.
What did she do?
She's not. She's not. It's in Arkansas. She's in a prison. She was in the real estate business, and when my mom and dad moved up here in about 74, my dad started a sporting goods store in Big Fork, and my mom got into the real estate business right there in Big Fork. And that was in a time when, like I say, nothing was selling. It's nothing like now. I can remember just hearing stories about, cherry orchards on the East Lake shore of the Flathead Lake, 26 acres going for, $40,000.
Whoa.
Oh, my gosh.
Some unbelievable. And now there'd be like millions and millions and millions if you could even find one.
Yeah.
Just extraordinary. And then my mom moved back to Northern California, and she sent me an article in a newspaper. I don't think a lot of people believe this, but this is probably 15 years ago, maybe more now, where they started selling, if you had waterfront property in the Flathead, they were selling it by the inch. Not by the foot or the acre, by the inch. And I went, oh, you're kidding. So I wrote a song, which is the reason I'm not sponsored by the Whitefish Chamber of Commerce anymore.
And it's simply called the real estate song.
The real estate song.
But you get a lot of requests in your shows for this. I saw you out at the Craggy Range last summer. Somebody's the real estate song.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. There's a ton of I could do a couple verses. There's a bunch of verses. They're all real clean. There's no really nasty sounding verses in there, but it is long, and all the verses are. I just took these strange quotes from people. You know, people would call the real estate office and go, "Can I get a house with a?" And because I knew a lot of people back then, everybody was in the real estate business. It seemed like, so all my friends had these great stories. So I just wrote this song about it. So here's to start it off. This is the phone call to the real estate office from the person that wants to buy waterfront property in the Flathead Valley. Should I just do a couple of verses?
Yeah, just do it.
Okay, here we go. Ring. That's the really outdated phone call right there. I know I should get a better, like a cell phone. We could have figured out something.
Yeah, that's old school. That's okay.
Okay. Ring. I want a house on a hill with a view and a stream and a wild tame herd of elk. Dogs that don't drool and dolphins in a pool and a barn full of pasteurized milk. And outside my etched glass windows, bull trout in a dammed up creek. A huge log home where the deer used to roam, a Hummer and 2 ATVs. And I want my new log home from old growth trees, but God don't cut any down. It needs to be way up in the hills, but still somehow close to town. Can we see a bear from our front porch there? And what are the northern lights? Can I hear a wolf? Can I catch a fish without any mosquito bites? I'll put a big fence. I'll put a big fence up all around that's mine, 'cause I got here before you. And I've been here for almost a year, so I ain't no greenhorn fool. All my lawyer friends work in real estate now, and they drive big shiny cars. And the lights are so bright from their Escalade, you can't even see the stars. So here's the Hollywood verse, Ross. And so my son, who just graduated from Bozeman with a degree in fish, wildlife, and biology, which means he'll be a bartender. He came back to the house on his bicycle one day, and he goes, Dad, Johnny Depp almost ran me over by the market. I said, Jimmy, let him run you over. Well, now all of these Hollywood people, they seem to be my good friends, although I never get invited to their parties. It's nice to sing songs about them. My imported Shih Tzu was out last night and her nose froze in the dish. And then a big bad wolf came down in the night and cleaned it out like a fish. Here's the last verse now. Well, nobody told me about the ice and the snow and that you wouldn't see the sun for weeks. I slipped on the sidewalk yesterday and bruised my cosmetically enhanced cheeks. But I've got a personal trainer, and he loves to make house calls. It's perfectly clear to live up here, you need to have really big snow tires. It's perfectly clear to live up here. Do we really need really big malt?
Yeah, let's give him a hand. John Dunnigan in the studio. I love that song.
Much.
You did the whole thing.
Well, I think I left out one verse. I can't. There's so many verses I can't remember.
It's so cool to see you hear this for the first time.
I know.
So good. That was so good.
Thank
But
you.
it's still doesn't it apply to
That's
today
so good.
in the real estate business?
Yes.
Here in the Flathead?
Yeah,
Oh, my
yeah.
gosh.
It's
So I got
crazy.
a question about the guitar. Boy, that sounds good on the air. Is that Jack's guitar?
No, this is not Jack's guitar, but it's funny you ask. You guys will notice the tape. My guitar for the audience is turning into Willie Nelson. I have these acrylic fingernails. I bought this guitar about 25 years ago, and you can see the hole I put it. And and the other night when I was playing in Whitefish, I'm strumming, and I got a sliver from the inside of my guitar. So I had to put Scotch tape on it just to keep my, and I got to do something. I'm not going to have it repaired because it's such a classic looking, a great look for a guitar, but I can't, I can't do that. So
that looks really cool, actually.
it looks really cool, but the sliver was devastating. I fell on the ground that had to have 3 of the cocktail waiters kind of resuscitate me and do mouth to mouth. That was a horrible experience.
That is horrible. Well, Jack's Guitar is the name of one of your CDs, and you do have a guitar called Jack's Guitar, which...
Should have brought it in.
Tell us a little bit about that guitar.
About Jack's guitar?
Yeah.
Well, there's a great story there. My Uncle Jack, my mom's brother, who of course I never met, was a World War II veteran. And he, as my mom said, jumped out of an airplane on D-Day and never hit the ground alive. But he had a guitar, a Kalamazoo guitar, that he had left at his house, obviously, and my mom and father were not married then. They grew up close together in San Francisco, and they got together. My dad played guitar, and my mom said, I have this guitar that my brother had, and gave it to my dad, and lo and behold, I still have it. And I recorded an album called Jack's Guitar, dedicated to Jack and all the World War II veterans, of course, and I played that guitar on that song. I didn't change the strings. The guitar is probably 80 years old. And I never changed the strings, and God, that would have been a really fun thing to bring that in. I never thought about that. But anyway,
we'll have you back
next time
with Jack's guitar for
that
sure.
That'd be a really good little, maybe a Veterans Day program or something like that.
Well, coming up, we want to talk about the fair tour that you do every summer, some of the special things that happen along that tour, and a song you wrote about, a special event. Well, not so special event that took place. An anniversary of a pancreas attack, and you wrote a song about that. Maybe a verse, maybe just one verse of that coming up in just a few minutes on our next break. An ordeal that I'm sure changed your life forever.
Yes, it did.
We'll talk about that as well. All coming up right here. This is Focus on the Flathead, right here on News Talk 880 KJJR.
Hey, this is Dr. Chad with Glacier Grins Pediatric Dentistry, where a kid's smile grows big. As a father of 3 kids who grew up in the Flathead, I understand how each child can be different. We created a fun and relaxed atmosphere here at Glacier Grins and work hard to make sure each child has a positive experience. We are accepting new patients and have immediate openings available. We are located in Hunt Ranch Plaza between Walmart and Sportsman. Book your appointment online at glaciergrins.com or call 890-6055. We look forward to meeting you and becoming your dental home.
We are back. This is Focus on the Flathead. Ross Strauser, Reed, Trontel. Reed, you having any fun yet?
Oh, this is so good.
Oh, the real estate song. We've already heard that. And John Dunnigan is here in the studio. John, thanks again for being here. This has been a lot of fun to catch up again.
Well, it's been a couple years, right? Since our show.
Yeah, definitely. And hey, well, you're talking about the real estate song. We talked about just about everything, how you got to the Flathead. I want to talk about an event that changed your life. You woke up in the middle of the night one night, and there's an anniversary of this just passed, right?
The 26th of January, yes.
How many years ago did this happen?
3 years ago.
Tell us what happened.
So, 3 years ago, right this minute, I would have been in Kalispell Hospital, sitting in a room. I'll be totally honest. I used to like to drink tequila, and it was really fun. I'm not saying that. Social drinking is fantastic. I had a great time doing it. I got sponsored by the Patron Tequila Company, and it became kind of a thing to buy John Dunnigan a shot of Patron.
I remember that.
It was like an event, and I obliged everyone who came to the stage with a shot of tequila, and I drank them. And it went on for years and years doing that. And then one morning I woke up January 26th and had acute pancreatitis.
Wow. What did that feel like when you just woke up from a dead sleep?
It was so incredibly painful. I knew it was something. You know, my wife, Andrea, thought it was a heart attack. And I said, no, this is in my stomach. In the meantime, I'm like, I could hardly breathe. So it's a classic story. We got up and, she goes, I'm going to call the ambulance. And I said, no, we can go down there. We do live a short distance from the hospital in Whitefish there.
Yeah.
We went outside. The car was encased in ice as if it was in the Arctic and someone had poured water on it the night before. We couldn't open the doors. Once we got in, the inside of the car was frozen. We finally made it down to the hospital where I was greeted with a gurney and a bunch of amazing nurses and doctors, and they gave me every kind of drug known to mankind. Then I was in the hospital for 3 weeks.
Wow.
3 weeks. Couple of operations. And
So what were the operations?
Well, they took out my gallbladder. They put a duckbill platypus brain in me, which I feel I loved. Had find some water right now.
I'm waiting for the morphine song.
Oh, the morphine song, yeah. Well, like my friend said, morphine doesn't take the pain away; it just takes your mind away. Want me to do my little bit of my pancreas song?
Could you do a little pancreas?
Okay. I don't do this very much anymore. But when you're in the hospital and you are like peaking on morphine. This is about all you can do. Oh, what a mess, my pancreas. What a mess, my pancreas. Everyone always knew what was in that glass. Not a person breathing has ever seen me on my. What a mess, my pancreas. What a mess, my pancreas. I drank top shelf, silver Patron. I drank in a crowd I drank alone. They'd bring 'em up, and I'd knock 'em down. I was the king in this little ski town. What a mess, my pancreas.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I didn't know whether to laugh or cry.
I know.
I didn't either.
It was really serious. I'm making really fun of it now, but it was a really serious event. But
So you had to change your diet and everything. I mean, everything changed about
Yep.
you. Do you think your show changed at all?
I was really concerned about, because so much of my show had centered or gravitated towards this alcohol. Come on, everyone, just this craziness. I mean, I can remember walking into the Great Northern in particular on a crazy winter night, just full of people, and thinking, oh my God, how can I do this? This is when I was drinking, and I thought, okay, I got my banjo, got my electric, I got my harmonicas, and I got my tequila.
Yeah.
I can get these guys, let's do some shots and get the whole thing going. And it, so when I got sober, I took 4 months off, 4 or 5 months off. As you know, I had a big benefit there in Whitefish, and I came back and played. It was scary.
Yeah.
It was really scary. But I think, seriously, I think I'm better now. I'm a little more articulate. I don't go off on these rants and rages. My guitar playing is better. The whole thing it's just better.
Yeah.
It's better.
Well, we're glad you're here.
Thank you.
Because it was kind of serious there for a few days.
Really serious.
Yeah.
33% chance that I wasn't going to make it. They called my son in Missoula to come up, and it was really, I didn't know what pancreatitis was. I'd never heard that term before, so. Anyway.
Well, so we talked about how you came into the Valley. We talked about what the music was like then. What do you think of the music scene in the Valley now? Because you play a lot here. I mean, you're at the Firebrand, you're at the Lodge at Whitefish Lake, you're up on the mountain, and Ed and Molly's. I mean, you play a lot.
Yep.
Well, what do you think of the music scene now?
Wow, there is some seriously good. We were talking earlier about back when I first started playing here, there was no solo artists. I mean, I don't think really anybody even did this. There were probably a couple of guys who, did the Gordon Lightfoot thing in the corner and played. Kathy Sullivan was, great. She did that up on the big mountain. She was, before I got here, she was kind of that person. But nowadays, I look around and the list of the solo artists, with Halliday Quist and Brent Jamerson and Nick Spear and the list goes on and on and on. And I just wish those people would just move. No, I love those guys. I love them. There's just some unbelievable players around here. It's just phenomenal. Really is.
You're still out busy in the summer, though. You do a fair tour. Tell us briefly about that.
Yeah, I get out on the road, and usually about the 1st of July, and go all over pretty much the Northwest. I go to Seattle. I play the Puyallup Fair, which is a phenomenal fair. Play the local fair here in Kalispell, which is really fun. And, all over from Colorado to Washington to North Dakota down to Idaho. And I don't go to, there's fairs all over the United States. And a lot of my friends, they really hit they're in, they're in Florida right now, for example, or they're in North Carolina. But the fishing's too good up here for me to leave. I'm not going down there.
So I was thinking about the last World Series. I was thinking about you, John. You're a huge baseball fan. LA, of course.
Yeah.
Lost.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. It's okay. I'm really a Giants fan, but
but that's kind of your home area.
Well, it is.
You had to be rooting for the Dodgers.
Oh yeah, even though they're my nemesis when this regular season is going, but the Giants were so bad this year. But it was a good series.
It sure was.
Really good series.
Very exciting.
Unbelievable.
Well, see how fast this went. We're already to the end of our show. Now tell us where you're going to be playing. It's the weekend. What's going on the next few weeks, the few months? Tell us about where you're playing.
Well, like you pretty much said it, I do the Great Northern on Thursday night. Pretty much, I'm not going to be there this Thursday. I'm playing in Libby for a private hospital benefit fund or something like that. But I will be at the boat club, the Whitefish Lake Lodge, every Saturday night. That's kind of my really hometown gig, along with the Great Northern when I'm there on Thursdays. Then I play the Firebrand the first Friday of every month, and just various other, lots of private little gigs here, there, and everywhere.
Well, thanks again for being here and
you,
catching up just a little bit. We got to have you back because there's so much more to talk about. We want to hear. We got to get Reed to get all your CDs too.
I want them all.
I should have brought them in. God knows I can't sell them. I'll give them away.
You have been listening to Focus on the Flathead. And read one more time before we leave. Where can we find these podcasts?
So main place will be bpodcast.com. We're going to be live 8 a.m. on KJJR. You can click on the KJJR Focus on the Flathead banner. We're on iTunes. We're on YouTube. We're everywhere.
Three Rivers Bank of Montana and Glacier Grins Pediatric Dentistry. Want to thank you, too, as our sponsors. John, have a great weekend, and good luck in the future.
Thank you, Ross and Reed. Great meeting you and all the other guys in the room here, all the security people and stuff like that. Thank you very much.
This is Focus on the Flathead right here on News Talk 880 KJJR and KJJR.com.